Marketeers, this one is for you. When attention spans are shorter than espresso shots, how do you actually stand out? Especially when the next generation of traders is more fluent in memes than headlines. Moderating this scroll-worthy discussion is the Regional Marketing Manager of Aleph Group. Please welcome Evgeny Kozlov.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming today. And I hope you have an interesting conversation today. And if you join us at the end with your questions, more than welcome, of course. So I'm working at Aleph Group, and I think we have a very interesting picture on the crossroad of the advertising platforms, because we represent, let's say, major platforms on many markets, 120 to be precise. And we're working with marketeers around these markets just to help them grow and to understand the platforms. That's why we have a lot of experience, of course, with fintech clients. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why I'm sitting here today and trying to a bit like interact with our lovely panel attendees today. Let me introduce them. So we have Gal Gasman, client partner at X. Let's put your applause for Gal. Good. Then we have Martin Zarian, a full-stack brand builder and co-founder at Factory 39 and Balabook. Welcome to our stage. Yes, and we have Itai Levitan, head of strategy at ForexLive and investingLive, how we should say, yeah. Before we'll start the conversation, I hope, let me ask you, who have the marketing or PR background here? Who is coming from this? Okay, we have pretty lot of people who came to learn something new for yourself. Very interesting. But before we'll continue our conversation, I want people to tell what they do and just tell a bit about yourself. Gal, let's start from you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Gal Gasman. I'm a client partner at X. We're based in Dublin. And I work mainly with fintech advertisers. And my main goal is to help them succeed on X.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Martin, maybe you can tell something about yourself?
I'm the co-founder of Factory 39. It's an agency that specialized in brand strategy and full-stack brand development, mostly for complex marketing where compliance is a fight, where differentiation is really hard. And that's where we try to have a brand-led proposition, so to help this company stand out and go beyond product and win markets.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And Itai, tell a bit about yourself, because you also have a very interesting background, which I hope you'll share with us.
I've done more than one thing. I'm coming from quite a heavy digital marketing background and experience of over 20 years. And I've also acquired some experience in investing and trading. So now as head of strategy at investingLive, investingLive is going to be the new brand of ForexLive, which hopefully some of you know. So we're rebranding, and as head of strategy, my job is to formulate ways to add more value to our users as we expand beyond Forex. And investors and traders, they increasingly want more tools to get them to come to better decisions, what to trade, how to trade, and hopefully we will be doing some of that.
Fantastic. Thanks for the introduction, and I think we can kick off the conversation right now. I have a few questions, which I think will be pretty basic. You know, why we're here today? We just want to discuss a bit the changes in the media consumption, the changes which are happening, like in how people are learning about the news. And I think when we're talking about news, X is a very relevant platform because everybody's talking on X about what's happening in the world. And I think that's a great opportunity for people to learn what's happening in the finance as well. So just can you tell a bit more about Gen Z and what they do on X and in terms of the financial services as well? So do they discuss it?
Okay.
Can you share about this?
Well, there are two parts to your question, starting with what's going on X as a platform. So X is the global town square. It's where everyone is coming to connect, to talk about what's going on. So it's not just about what happened, but it's what's going on right now. And we know that X is the #1 news app in more than 140 countries around the world. And also it has a high cultural signal. So this is why people from various interests are coming together to X to connect. And also, if you are a trader, broker, if you have a fintech company, if you're a financial user, you're an investor, this would be probably the main platform you should be in to understand what's going on, to understand the financial conversation, and to spot trends. And if I'm zooming out a bit to tell you how X is becoming the everything app. So I don't know if you're familiar with Grok. Now X is part of XAI, and XAI main product is Grok. It's one of the most advanced AI tools in the market today.
I am using it, to be honest, every day.
Oh, that's
when
good.
I'm
That's good. Happy to hear
clicking
that.
this Grok button.
That's good. I hope everyone uses it as well. To tell you a bit about it, so it's embedded inside X, as you said. So today, every user has access to it, and you can also use it to do any action, to generate pictures, to analyze, to write code. So anything you can think about, Grok is there for you. And also as an X user, you can use Grok to ask questions about the platform. Grok can help you understand context of posts, so it can give you a bigger picture. And as a marketer, you can use Grok to help you. What are people talking about? What's the most trending topics? Who is the most, followed influencer? So you have lots of options to do with Grok, which is you're not using yet.
But
strongly recommend.
I see many people actually questioning Grok. Is it true? That's the most popular,
Yes,
what I see in my timeline.
Yeah, so any post, you can tag Grok in your replies, and it will just tell you, give you more context about the post itself and some background, so it's really, really useful. Not just Grok, so X also, you have the options to make calls on the platform, to write encrypted messages. We also invest a lot in video, even though X and primarily Twitter was a very textual platform and people are coming to read more. We know they're more leaned in to interact with written content. And we can see that everyone is looking for video. And we have a variety of offering. In video, we have short form, long form, 4K, vertical video, everything both organic and for advertising, for promoting ads. We also have our XTV app, where you can watch the X platform from the comfortable of your home in the TV. And we also create a lot of original content. So it's not just about the platform, it's also about what's on the platform itself, the content. And we partnered with very high-end creators. We have Khloe Kardashian doing a weekly show on the platform. We have Anthony Pompiliano, which I guess a lot of here know about. He's doing a daily analysis of the financial markets, stocks, crypto. He has his own dedicated page on the platform where you can see all the video that he posts. We have an original content called Going Public, where you can find young entrepreneurs looking for people to invest in their new startup, in their new product, in their new company. And users on X can actually be investors in their company. So there's a lot of interesting things going on the platform. I will only just say we have X Money, which I'm sure if you don't already know, it must be very intriguing.
It is very intriguing. When we've been talking about
yes,
this. Yeah.
I can't say a lot. But we've recently partnered with Visa, and it will be a game changer in everything to do with creators and e-commerce. So a lot more to come on that. And I know my answer is quite long, but if you wanted
Yes.
to touch on the subject of Gen Z, so Gen Z is 1/3 actually of the audience of X. So it's a very big audience on the platform, and it's actually increasing. So we can see it's increasing by 8% year over year, and it keeps on increasing. And Gen Z as an audience, and this is from research we do about the audience, they consume more video. It's an audience that is looking for authenticity. They see themselves as an influential audience. They see themselves as leaders of the conversation. So they are also looking for other people to follow. And they're looking for that direct connection. We can also see that in terms of brands, when they look for a brand, they look for it on social. Unlike
just to check, is this brand alive or not? I mean,
Exactly.
Very important.
That's true. So they look for their social presence. So we can see that on Gen Z, and it's a very important audience because in a few years they will have the highest buying power. So we should really take them seriously. And I think brand and marketers have the opportunity here to reach out to that audience. And I would say that they can use authentic engagement. So it would be about authenticity, and it would be about engaging with that audience. And they have various interests. So it's not just about the fintech. You can reach out to that audience when they watch sports, when they watch the Oscars, when there's like a big cultural event happening, because X is the nature. We talk about what's happening right now, and brands should understand that if you want to win the game, you need to be relevant. So cultural relevance is really, really
true,
important.
And I think that's like coming from our conversation, it's all about attention. And brands are bringing attention. And I think about attention, I will have a question to Martin about like how brands, and especially in fintech, can bring this attention to them. What's your opinion on that? Like,
I think
is there any strategy maybe about this?
If it's becoming increasingly harder because the reality is that we live in a society where comedy movies are not funny anymore, horror movies are not horror anymore. Like we almost living under constant anesthesia. It's really hard for us to be attracted by something. We take on average, 3,000 decisions every day. We saw about 10,000 different brands every day. And fintech, and in particularly Forex and broker brands, are notoriously bad in branding and marketing. I think they are still they're still riding the wave of sales and affiliates and a lot of kind of like short-term lead generation tactic. And just now I see a few brands waking up on the power of branding, on the power of memorability, power of visibility, and the power of standing out. And the reality why this is happening right now is because a lot of these products that these companies offer, they are not unique. And even if they are unique, Mr. Liu out of China next week will be able to replicate it half the price. So it's really hard to maintain technology innovation and differentiation driven by the product. I'm not saying the product is not important, product is super important, but it's half the battle. The other half the battle is being memorable, being trusted, and being purchased. And I think that's becoming harder by every single day. And I think Gal said really well, authenticity. That's one of the keys.
I think when you're saying about unique and so on, it's a great example in my mind about Balabook. The guy who created this crazy toy became the 10th richest person in China right now by just creating a pretty interesting experience which people followed. And in my opinion, it's like, also like it sounds crazy to me, but it is what it is. So it's about different branding, different packaging.
100%. 100%. I think if we break down what makes branding memorable, I think we have the strategy, obviously, right? So what is our positioning? Where do we want to compete? Where we want to fight, right? If I were about launch an activewear new brand, I wouldn't want to go and compete with Nike, right? I wouldn't want to go and compete with the biggest in the game. I will try to find my own niche, my own little group of consumer, and try to do things differently. And going back to Forex, I think a lot of the companies historically they like to go to the proven path, and we find ourselves with a lot of companies with the same name, very similar logos, very similar identities, very similar messaging, and then if you add to that also very similar product, how the heck are you going to stand out and be memorable? That's the question.
That's very hard, yes. And talking about this kind of like how to stand out, you should be authentical and you should be visible by people who is your core audience. And talking about the authenticity, Itai, maybe you can tell a bit from your experience, maybe some practical ways how in fintech, because like here in IFX, I'm walking, I see a lot of brokers, a lot of companies. I don't know how to understand how people are selecting all of them. Is like, what's your opinion on that? Because you're the person who working on this on day-by-day basis, I believe.
Yeah, so first I agree with the wise things that were said here. And let's also take the chance to possibly give our audience some takeaways, some practical angles. So, for example, you were talking, Gal, about the video, and let's take it to the principle that this generation prefers to see visual messages rather than long texts. And some of our SEO people, we like these long articles, but they like more the visuals. So for example, I'll give you an example of things that I used last week. I used Sora of ChatGPT. Sorry, but I'm not sure Grok still has. I'm actually using Grok for fact checking, which is great. But in this case, for example, you have like an idea, a message that you want to give. It might be, hey guys, the S&P 500 is still strong. But yeah, you can write it, or you can put up some chart, or you can go to the AI and say, I want to do this, and I want to mention, I actually used, if NASDAQ was a mascot, what would you do? I'm not sure, some of you, for example, there's a nice trick. You can go to your AI and say, knowing what you know about me, give me a picture of me. And then you will be surprised. It's a nice hack. Try it. So you can try it also on these practical marketing things. So I said, if NASDAQ was a mascot, because I wanted to use that visual in my message, saying, guys, NASDAQ, there was a lot of chatter. Is it going? Is there going to be a major reversal down, bearish reversal? And I was like, no, guys, we're probably going to a new all-time high or close to it. So if NASDAQ was a mascot, what would it look like? And of course, you see the 4 versions it gives you. You take one of them. This was like a bull with all this electronics, NASDAQ technology and that. You choose one that is relevant for your context, and you use that as a visual aid. So again, the summary of the point is on social media, if you're looking for ideas and visual aids, you can use that little trick. I think you will find it very helpful. Let's talk about authenticity. Authenticity is something that probably most of you have heard about, but how do you exactly do that? How do you, and think about with people, how do you build authenticity and trust with people? Well, if my daughter tells me only good things that she did, and when I know she screwed up, she's going to hide it, that's not going to be very trustworthy. But if I know that there's a source, a person, a brand, that also tells me, in our case, for example, we give some ideas of trading for consideration. We're not a financial advisory. We cannot, it's only for research purposes, etc. But we provide some ideas how you can trade this. If, for example, Bloomberg is about not only the news, but what you need to think about, we're trying to be not only the news or intelligent news and updates, but what you can consider investing and trading in. And by the way, investing, we're not talking about, you don't have to be a big investor. Everyone that's got either NVIDIA, Tesla, Microsoft in their stock portfolio, for us, it's an investor. So going back to the authenticity, if we're going to give some ideas, usually what you see happening on social media, whether it's individuals or brands, you usually hear about, they follow up only on the success stories. They don't really say, here I screwed up, here it's wrong. So consistency, being consistent, doing a follow-up for every idea that you have, okay? Saying, here it didn't work out, guys. Here I was wrong. That's how you build authenticity. If, for example, you're a broker and you know that you can't compete with interactive brokers, which most of you know about, and I saw them yesterday. They're advertising on Reddit with a
Can you tell them to fix the UX?
With what?
Of interactive brokers?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but yeah, they're still monsters.
They are.
But basically, they're saying, come to us because you can park your money and get interest rate. That's their first USP, unique selling proposition, to get you to come. If you're another broker, of course, you cannot compete with some of the aspects of interactive brokers, but you can mention what you are good at. Let's say it's exceptional customer service. And you can also not be ashamed, let's say, the things that you need to, and in any case, tell about. Like, for example, a disclaimer of how many people lose money, 70 to 8%, whatever. Your legal department already told you to put this somewhere. Today, before a couple of years ago, marketeers were trying to see where do I hide this crap, right?
Yeah.
But today, you can actually flip it and take and turn the disadvantage to an advantage, because that's how you build trust. You don't build trust by coming to panels and hearing philosophies. You build trust by these sort of actions. So those are a few takeaways.
Yeah, that's all very relevant in my opinion, because the institutions which you mentioned as well, they all are presented on different social media platforms. And the trust, also a lot of marketers trying to build this trust by having different awards. They're trying to use influencers as well. They're trying to promote them in the specific events and medias as well. And talking about the influencers, can we check about, Gal, maybe you can share a bit of how marketers should think, what kind of maybe tips or advice you can give if they want to work with influencers on X?
Yeah,
what
of
they
course.
should be doing?
Sure. I think it also connects with what everyone was talking about the authenticity, also relates to your Gen Z question. So people and marketers are looking at influencers, and we see that there is a need for what's called UGC, for user-generated content. So using influencers is not a bad word. It's not just about someone trying to sell you a t-shirt and offering you 15% discount with this coupon. Not about that. It's about collaborating with experts, with people we know has a lot of followers, or people listen to them. They are opinion leaders, and if a brand can collaborate with such an influencer, get them to try the product, and get them to recommend you to their audience, then the audience will take it in a different way sometimes. So it doesn't have to be for everything. It can be for an ad hoc campaign or for a specific product, but it will answer the need of that direct connection with the brand through the influencer. It will answer the authenticity aspect of it. I think it's a very good strategy that should be part of the whole marketing mix. When you look at it, not as a sole marketing, but definitely to have a part in it. Yeah.
Okay, I agree with that. And talking about this, let's say, a relationship, Martin, maybe you can comment and give a couple of advices for the, let's say, Forex company. If they want to succeed now, what they should be doing, from your opinion, from your perspective.
I think manage the relationship between buying attention and generating attention, so lead generation and long-term brand positioning. Because the reality is that the stronger the brand grows, the less money you have to invest into lead generation and the buying attention. Buying attention is good, right? You invest $1, you get back $2. CFO absolutely love it. CEOs understand it. They can show that return.
Everybody loves it.
It's math, right? It's black on white. It's very hard to argue it. The problem is, as soon as you stop putting that $1 inside, you're gonna get zero. right?
That's what many advertisers forget.
That's what they forget. So buying attention works. CEO love it, CFO understands it, CMOs are becoming really good at it. AI makes it even easier to track, maintain, and sustain. But the reality is that also brand generation is something that is really important, right? Because the more brand power you have, the more brand equity you have, the less you need to buy attention, the more you generate attention. The more you generate attention, the more you attract client versus pulling them in. So that's the balance that I think startup grown-ups and all sorts of companies are still trying to figure it out. And the other is understanding, asking simple question, who we are, what we stand for, what makes us unique, what we will do and what we will not do, right? Having a really strong long-term strategy, having a vision, and I think that's another under-leveraged superpower. If you do not have a vision, it will never become a reality. If you don't know where the goal is, how the hell are you going to score, right? So it's really important to have a vision and then reverse engineer a step-by-step plan to make that a reality. So that's it. That's all internal work, right? That's the whole internal strategy. And then understand, where do you want to be positioned? Do you want to compete against XNest? Do you want to compete against XM? Do you want to compete against IC markets? Where do you stand? Is your product different enough? If it's not different enough, which a lot of the cases that's the reality, how are you going to compete against them? You said customer service. What is your superpower? Where do you stand out? And then if they are going left, if they are white, have the courage to go right, have the courage to be black, have the courage to go some uncharted territories, which are risky, which are scary. CFO hates it, CEO hates it. But on the long term, it's always been proven that these risky decisions do command a premium price. Apple, for example, we all talk about Apple, right? But we forgot that for almost 20 years, they were a broke company. They were a risky company. They were not doing really well. But in the long term, we all know. It's the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. And maybe, Itai, you have something to add from your end, because you are, I see you as an expert. We've worked already with a lot of Forex and fintech companies in general. Can you share a bit of advices for people who just wanted to stand out?
One thing perhaps I can talk about, on one hand, the obvious, but on the other hand, a way for brands to put this even higher on their list going forward, their marketing strategy list, and that's the use of AI. We see now a big time growing within the generation that we're talking about. By the way, the generation that we're talking about, how old are they? Can we get fun fact, fun riddle? How old are the people that we're talking about? They're 15 to 30 years old. So they're using more and more ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT is basically quickly going towards the 1 billion active users. We have Grok that's doing great work, I think. We have Gemini that's constantly doing better and better job. We have users that are more using the apps vocally because they don't have time. They don't want to type now. They're in the car. They're somewhere. And there's a bit of a hidden trust factor because they feel that they have more control about their query because they're saying it in their words, and even unawarely, they have more control about the query, which goes into they have more trust about the answer. Okay? So what does that mean? If I now ask, where's the best broker with the best spreads in my region, right? And I thought about the spreads because it's important to me. I had some people, by the way, you see it on Reddit, they're pissed off. There's a slippage. They get pissed off at their broker. And there's matters of execution for the brokers. Others get ripped off by spreads. So let's say my thing was spread. I have a control. I can type it in Google as well. But the fact that I'm using now AI in my mind, I'm gonna get like a more quality and better answer. I'm gonna trust it, whether I'm aware of it or not. That's what's happening now. Okay, so there's a big trust there. And then when the AI tells me, here, these are the brokers, this is like now fine real estate to be on in terms of trust. Not only that, today the ChatGPT gives you UTM, so there was also actually like an improvement of that even more for tracking. yesterday, but they're getting better at attributing their traffic when these people land on your website. So the point is, you need now as brands, it's even more important to get on these platforms. How do you do that? There's more than one way, but one way is to get your brand into the conversation when that conversation is being discussed on high authority places. Finance Magnets is one of them. ForexLive, I'll give my insertion, but it's one. If you get yourself on X, on a very popular thing, that's another one. We have our content going on TradingView. That helps us to become more of an authority. If you're now going to, if it's in the past, it was SEO, let's get that link because of PageRank, juice, and that matters less. Of course, there's a correlation. A high authority website.
Itai, I have to interrupt
Yeah.
you. It's like a very long advice because we're out of time already. So that's why I want just to summarize.
I'll just finish. Okay. I'm sorry for taking too long. I'll take another 7 seconds. So AI is becoming a platform you should be on, and to get into the high authority conversations. Excuse me for prolonging.
Yeah, so that was very long. I hope all of you learned something from the speakers today on the stage. Unfortunately, we're out of time for the questions, but you can reach the speakers right now after the panel and ask your questions if you have any. And I want to introduce our speakers again. Thanks, Gasman, client partner from X. My huge thanks to Martin Zarian, full stack brand builder and co-founder at Factory 39 and Balabook, and Itai Levitan, head of strategy at ForexLive, InvestLive. Thank you guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And thanks for sharing your expertise today with the audience. Thank you. Thank you very much.